5 seconds remaining.
Hello and welcome, I'm Zoran for Terrible
Time.
Damage, and I'm gonna do something a little different. I haven't been
Radiant
casting
team
lately
bad.
because I've been working through just kind of a mild infection. So trying to get that cleared up before I get too much back into the streaming or casting or yelling my brains out scene. But I do want to
10
get a little
seconds
in
remaining.
here, so what I'm going to be doing that is just a little different is I actually played this game. Had a group trying to put together a team, and I have my broadcast on. There we go. Don't need that echo going. But what I'm going to do is watch this game while casting it.
Radiant team
So this will force me to kind of take it slow and pay attention to the specifics of the game, and perhaps
Dire
might
team
give me
pick.
a different look at the analysis than I otherwise would just skimming through the replay to see what went on. So first up, let's take a look at the bans. We had the Dire had the first pick, so they had the first ban, went straight for the Invoker. We banned Lycan. I didn't want to go with Lycan in this game. The opposing side was Radiant,
seconds
so I didn't
remaining.
necessarily have to ban it. However, they went straight for the Death Prophet, so it ended up being a good
5
choice. Don't
seconds
really
remaining.
want to deal with the obnoxiousness that is Death Prophet and Lycan
Reserve
together.
time.
But also, I just didn't want to deal with kind of one of these games where one hero can just get out of control if you don't counter it specifically, and that's just kind of boring, to be honest. Not why I wanted to practice here on a first outing. That was also kind of the reasoning behind the Naga ban. Mirana banned out by Radiant, another hero that's kind of annoying, good all-around hero.
Dire team pick.
Didn't really affect my plans at all. Went in for the Wraith King first pick. I think Wraith King is a pretty solid first two picks. You can't go too wrong with it. Can be support or core. You can be aggressive, defensive. It's not really too exploitable, I don't think. So I think it's a solid choice if you want to go down that route. You do have to build
10
around it a
seconds
little bit.
remaining.
It's not the most flexible possible. Like it's
5
not
seconds
saying
remaining.
AA is probably there's a support that's not locking you into anything really, or even
Radiant team
Rubik
pick.
not going to lock you into anything too much. Not really exploitable. But grabbing the Treant Protector here, decided to grab it so they didn't have that as well. Fit into what I wanted to do, but that did force Wraith King into a core role unless we wanted to run a dual melee. Now that's where it becomes, tipping the hand just a little bit. Doesn't indicate aggressive, but it does indicate, okay, core Wraith King
10
now in the
seconds
first two, and that's a little more than you want to give up.
5 seconds remaining.
However, the big thing about Wraith King isn't
Reserve
so much
time.
a mana burn hero, but a Necro Book hero. Necro Book is the item to counter Wraith King more so than feeling like you need to go in for an anti-mage or a Naga or a PL or something like that.
Radiant team
Because
banned.
it's just simpler to have something like a Lycan, which is more in vogue right now than these late game carries. Ancient Apparition grabbed as well. Pretty solid choice
10 seconds
going up
remaining.
against the tree with the heal. Also with
Dire
the
team banned.
lifesteal coming out of the aura from the Wraith King. Trying to remember the name. Vampiric Aura. Knew it started with a V, but it's like Vengeance Aura? No,
Radiant
that's
team
Vengeful
banned.
Spirit. So taking out the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman plus Ancient Apparition is a strong combination for just sieging a tower in the first place. Something that was huge in the Chinese scene for a
10
month or
seconds
two.
remaining.
Fallen off a little bit, but still a good combination. And
5
Shadow Shaman with
seconds
Death
remaining.
Prophet's always good as well. Having these multiple ultimates that you can't just spam down with
Reserve
abilities
time.
is kind of a pain in the ass in terms of defending pushes, because you can't just throw some spells and get rid of the wave. The wards are still attacking, the ghosts are still attacking, so they end up banning out Witch Doctor, presumably just the Witch Doctor with Overgrowth. Seeing it here or there, I don't think is necessary, but it's not too bad as a ban out. I think if
Dire team ban.
And Weaver, I don't think was a worthwhile ban at all for them. I guess if they thought they are, unless, I guess if they concluded based on the first two picks that we were going aggressive trial lane, maybe they just don't want a 1v1 in the Weaver. So you could say
10
that's okay.
seconds remaining.
But you already know that Wraith King is a core. So I think it's
5
a
seconds
more
remaining.
reasonable bet to focus on supports or mids that you don't want to go up against. You've already picked your Death Prophet as
Reserve
most
time.
likely mid. You can run it safe lane, but you know, generally you're going to
team
have that
pick.
mid, so you probably want to ban out something that Death Prophet perhaps doesn't want to deal with. I end up taking out the Lifestealer, just making it easier in terms of the aggressive tri-lane. Lifestealer could just, you know, rage out of the Hellfire Blast to dodge that. Same with the Leech Seed, just rage and walk away and you're
10
fine.
seconds remaining.
Overgrowth will go through rage, so
5
there's that
seconds
in the
remaining.
mid game, but I'm focused more on the laning stage.
Reserve time.
Now we do have to shore up the tri-lane here. And gonna grab the Visage.
Radiant team pick.
So looking pretty good here, really strong in the early game. Only seeing the Death Prophet so far, it's not clear that the Radiant has better late game at this point, but you could expect it with the Wraith King. He can't necessarily scale that great. He scales, I think, a little better than people will give him credit for, but not the
10
best
seconds
late game
remaining.
carry. Visage's gonna scale
5
really well.
seconds
Treant
remaining.
not so much.
Reserve time.
So Radiant here needs another support, off lane, and carry. So you expect the support or off lane to be picked at this point. The others, out of their other support, they're going to want a reliable stun. It's just much, much simpler if out of your two supports you have that. To grab the Alchemist, it's
team
unclear at this point whether or not that's a support or a core Alchemist. So it could be safe lane farming or team up with the Ancient Apparition. So mostly a reliable-ish stun out of the Unstable Concoction. Have to charge it up to do a lot, but if you're within range,
10
you
seconds
can't dodge
remaining.
it. So even if you turn on
5
Magic Immunity,
seconds
you'll still
remaining.
take the damage from it at least.
Reserve time.
The two supports and a farming Wraith King still need a mid and, you know, an additional side laner. And gonna see
Radiant
Timbersaw
team
here.
pick.
Timbersaw falling out of favor a bit. A bit dangerous going up against the Death Prophet, which has a silence. But beyond that, it's fairly good. Cold Feet not going to do a whole lot. Unstable Concoction is alright. But given that you have to wind it up and the kind of slow movement time, you can get out of range of it pretty decently and not be locked down
10
as
seconds
much as they
remaining.
would like. Leshrac going to be the other
Dire
choice,
team ban.
which does put that into either a farming Alchemist or a farming Leshrac, but most likely farming Alchemist, in which case that leaves you have two supports with unreliable stuns, which is a bit of a problem. You have to land one of the two without any
10
help.
seconds
However, they
remaining.
do have the Unstable Concoction, so they can follow up that.
5 seconds
But they are
remaining.
reliant on Alchemist landing that. And it's a little trickier, again, with the charge up and toss time
Reserve
to
time.
get in position to land the other two abilities. Still a dangerous tri-lane. There is some cohesion between the Acid Spray and Exorcism. Exorcism doing physical damage, so the minus armor will help. Last two picks here. Often you see first pick leave the
Radiant team ban.
mid to last pick to allow for a counter pick. But Death Prophet up front means that we just have the offlaner coming up here for the Radiant. Now the ban of the
10
Windrunner
seconds
looks a
remaining.
little weird. However, Timbersaw against most
seconds
pretty much
remaining.
any typical offlaner is going to win that lane.
Reserve
You have
time.
almost all melee heroes in the off lane, and most of them
Dire team
strength
pick.
as well. So expecting to put Timbersaw in a 1v1 matchup, was looking at an offlaner that might be picked that could do alright against Timbersaw, and Windrunner fit that bill, so decided to remove that. And then OD, the last one, they had the option
Radiant
to
team
ban out the
pick.
OD multiple times here, opted to ban the Puck instead. I don't think Puck would have been the best option. I guess the lockdown helps a bit, but I still actually pretty much like OD either way. Wasn't really thinking Puck in that situation.
10 seconds remaining.
That leaves just the offlaner here for the Radiant
5
to finish up
seconds
this
remaining.
draft.
Reserve time.
It's an interesting lineup here on the Radiant. They have a lot of push between Exorcism and Edict. But the fights are a little weird. They don't have the best control. It's kind of chaotic. If they're landing their stuns, it works out great, but they're kind of tricky to land in a reliable way. So I feel like the way this is set up right now, you're relying a lot on Leshrac positioning and casting spells in a really effective and smart way, which is putting a little more weight on one hero that I think you would like. Bounty Hunter, the last pick, which I'm not sure really fits into their lineup because they've got this heavy push lineup, and Bounty Hunter you're normally looking for pickoffs. However, if you're having a lot of trades and team fights, you know, if you're just trading a lot, then you know the tracks add up. But you do have to have a lot of fights, and normally you're just looking to take the tower with your ult and then leave and
10
repeat.
seconds remaining.
In which case, in those kind of games, you don't end up having a lot of kills.
5 seconds remaining.
However, if they're looking at the Dire lineup, very much a fighting lineup, so that could be a response there and hoping to trade and get ahead through track. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Let's take a look at our heroes.
Prepare
First up,
for
Patron
battle.
here on the Outworld Devourer, going to be headed out toward mid. Bottle Rush heading out for him. Our side laners here, we've got No Big Deal on. The Timbersaw will be head up solo safe lane. Should be up against that Bounty Hunter. Down bottom, aggressive tri-lane, Bernizzle on. The Treant Protector going to be joined up by Full Zera on the Visage, and then Zeron, hey, on the Wraith King. They're headed down towards bottom. Let's take a look at the Radiant side. Blue Phoenix playing the Ancient Apparition. And be joined up the other support, Unfaithful Llama, the Leshrac, and then Bunny on the Alchemist, who's really rushing that Midas. Actually went Gloves of Haste first. In mid, Voss
30
on the Death
seconds to
Prophet.
battle.
Then finally up top, we have Captain Cupcake on the Bounty Hunter. So we've got we're spotting out the supports here, going to be collapsing. However, notice there's been a bit of a slip up here on the skilling, living armor skill level 1. Really want to have the Leech Seed. Leech Seed going to do you 140 damage with a 4.5 second slow,
The
as well as
battle
healing
begins.
you and your teammates in an AoE. So really that's kind of part of the big reason that you're picking Tree lately, is to get that really strong level 1. There's the combo. They're going to get first blood there on the Visage. Going to try and get out of there, chasing down. Trying to focus here on the Wraith King. Shouldn't have enough. Concoction going to come back up, though. Living Armor is there to help out. Still not going to have enough. Cold Feet not going to proc. Now going to try and turn on the Tree, even with the Stout Shield taking a lot of damage. Trying to body block with the ranged Attack's not going to be able to help out. Still getting away. Just gets mana for a concoction. Will just be enough. There's 2, and that's a tough start there down bottom. This could be level 2 on the Alchemist and Leshrac. I'm not sure, was he there? No. Still just the 1, so not quite where they wanted. Could have been a big difference with Leech Seed there. They still might have had First Blood with the amount of burst. It was hard to say, but not the way they wanted to go. They're still going to try and go back down. Could rotate out, but kind of the way the lineup's set up, not really wanting to do that. So it's still going to head back down bottom. But off to a good start for the Radiant. Low mana, though, for the Alchemist. Not going to be able to use his stun anytime soon. Also, out of mana is the Ancient Apparition. Leshrac's still got a little bit in the tank. Up top so far, Bounty doing pretty darn well for himself off this first couple waves. Having a slight edge there on the Timbersaw. It will slowly edge over time towards Timber, though, as Whirling Death is going to do a lot of work. Going to be hard to do anything until you have that Leech Seed back up. As well as you're probably going to want Soul Assumption as well. The other 2 skills not too important on the Wraith King, though. In mid so far, pretty even. 4 denies already for the OD, though. Kind of... The right clicks there on that creep actually helped the last hit. We'll see when things break down. Bottom probably the place to keep the most eye on. However, as time goes on, again, a lot of bursts going to come out of the Timbersaw, so could have something happen up there. Mid should not really have any deaths. The only chance for a kill there would be when OD hits 6. That's the only time. When he first hits that, the burst from... Well, maybe not 6, as you're not necessarily getting immediately X6, but whenever he takes Sanity's Eclipse, that's going to be the only opportunity for potentially a kill in the mid lane, I'd say, in any normal circumstance until we see rotations, but Sport's going to have a hard time rotating out while there's 3 down here. Level 2 is up, so they do have the Leech Seed now along with Soul Assumption, so could have action at any moment. Leshrac's solo smoking. So there's no setup here. Kind of asking a lot to try and land that. Misses. And could go down. Takes a lot of damage, goes to 68 HP. That was a bit of a silly maneuver. Down bottom, didn't have any movement though while that happens. As it is, clear that slow start. Alchemist out in front, going to be on that Midas any moment so far, so they still need to get a lot done out of this tri-lane for it to be worth it for the Dire. Up top, Timber with a very slight lead, pretty even so far. I feel like he should be a little more ahead. But there's no regen left on the Bounty Hunter, so he could be forced out pretty easily in just a little bit here. Gets low. The stun thrown out, they're going on the Alchemist, and there's a kill. Gonna get very low. Do we have tree? There you go. Living armor and we'll be fine. Costs a lot of HP, but there's a return kill. 2-1 now on the board. Still looking like a better setup here right now for the Radiant out of the laning stage, but it is improving after the early 2 kills. Arcane Boots already done here for no big deal. Going to be able to keep the spam up quite a bit. Now the Bounty Hunter going to try and rotate. Low on health, though, so he has to be very careful. He could have Sanity's Eclipse. He does have Sanity's Eclipse, so if he just takes a right click in a Sanity's Eclipse. That could kill him. We'll see how fast they burst him down if he gets caught out. Moves back to the tower, perhaps smells what's up. And Bounty Hunter gonna move on back. Throws up a ward and then walks back. The rune is up. I don't know why he didn't camp that rune. Now he turns around, throws it down. Leshrac smokes again on his own, but this time Bounty Hunter's there as well. Up a bit far. That was a long right click, able to land the stun, and now that will be enough with the Shuriken.
It did not take a prophet to see that coming.
Cost a lot to finally get that kill, but a well worthwhile one. TP down bottom from the OD. So this is another a bit of a risky play to try and make this happen. Gonna spot out the Leshrac, misses on the split earth. Behind the Axiom we have a stun thrown out, as well as the Bounty Hunter going. Sanity's Eclipse throwing down. Leshrac gets low but not dead. Bounty trying to pursue out, chooses the target on the OD again, can't decide, and now backing out. Alchemist getting low, very low on the OD, gets to 40 health, still trying to run away from the Bounty Hunter, trying to help him out. There's the Astral Imprisonment. No mana left. Exorcism now coming out. Will they get the Treant Protector? Will they get the OD? In comes the Timbersaw. 5-man party. Everybody backing out now. Still looking to chase here is the Timber. No big deal, trying to spot somebody out, but going to back up. A lot of low mana and some low health heroes here. Not going to fight into that Exorcism, and that's a little bit of a win, I have to say. 3-3 on the board. Exorcism not going to help take a tower. This point in, there's a bit of a gold lead sitting right now for the Radiant, but in terms of situation, I say it's roughly even. There's some concern about Alchemist getting on a roll, but he did just die there. He's died twice now, so he's not free farming here, though he is on top of the board, care of Midas and Grievel's Greed. Interesting Timber chain there. Moving in as the Timber saw a lot of damage going out. Gets tracked up. Bounty's just going to run away. We had that big movement, but the lane's resetting. Not going to break down just yet. No towers taken. As mentioned, Exorcism did not do any damage to a tower there. So that's the big thing. Gonna want to be taking towers with that ult, and if she can't, that becomes a bit of a problem. Now, something I like to do is just to do a TP scroll inventory. Let's take a look at the Radiant TP scroll in stash, but not on person. There is a TP scroll on the Ancient Apparition, none on the Alchemist, none on the Death Prophet, none on the Leshrac. For the Dire, we got one on the Wraith King, none on the Treant Protector, one on the Visage, one in the stash on the OD, and one on person on Timbersaw. So Dire taking a bit of an edge in the TP scroll war. Gonna be able to react just a little bit better. CD room picked up by the Death Prophet. Gonna move on toward bottom. Did walk under the Observer ward, so they know it's coming. Of course, there are a little more dangerous heroes with the DD rune than the Death Prophet. And here they come, all 5 down bottom, looking to take this tier 1. Probably should have saved that living armor for the
Dire structures
tower.
are fortified.
Relatively short cooldown at 20 seconds, but still, that's time not being spent helping out the tower just that little bit, but it will just be fine. They don't really get all that much, and chip damage not going to do a whole lot against the Treant
Radiant's
Protector.
middle tower is under attack.
They did get the rotation of all 5 from Dire as well. They say how the trade ends up being more worth it for the Dire. Again, not giving up the tower, another exorcism, and the longer they draw this out without the Prophet
Radiant's
taking
middle
towers,
tower is under attack.
the better they're looking. And to be honest, I'd say
Radiant's
late game
bottom
goes to
tower
the
is
Dire
under
as
attack.
well. Alchemist scales with farm in that he gets way out ahead, but if everybody's on equal footing, he's not that great. And then you just have the Death Prophet and Bounty Hunter, and OD and
Bottom
Timbersaw
tower
going to
has
be
fallen.
just fine with
Dire's
keeping up
middle
with
tower
that.
is under attack.
Haste
Dire's
rune, but
top
gonna
tower
be
is
snatched
under
up by the
attack.
bounty. They don't have vision, but either way, he does have the haste rune. Take a quick look at where we are at this point. Even a slight golden experience lead for the Dire when you've got Alchemist with a Midas and 3 points in Grievel's Greed. You wanna... there really should be an advantage in terms of the gold, but right now, not the case.
Radiant's top tower is under
Pick of the
attack.
Death Prophet and giving up the first tower, not where they want to be. Now pushing on tier 1 top, doing quite a bit of damage here. Timbersaw not who you're normally expecting for a whole lot of pushing power.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Fortification is there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Gets stunned up, and the tower aggro ends up backing off. Tower is in deny range, so that is going to get denied. But that's another tower down.
Radiant's top tower has been denied.
The 2 up, and so far, it's looking pretty much, you know, both sides have had some setbacks, so it's not too far one direction. I'd give a slight edge as I miss up top there. There's the revenge there from the Timbersaw. Almost at that Bloodstone. Picked off a Leshrac there in the river.
Invisibility.
And that Bloodstone is coming fast and hard. And I think that's the big difference maker right now. You're looking at 5,200 net worth on the Timbersaw and 3,100 on the Bounty Hunter. Which is a bit of a different situation than the Alchemist at 55 and the Wraith King at 3,500. As you're expecting a gold advantage out of the Alch. Ever turning and chasing on the Timbersaw. Gets stunned up there in the river. Now gets up to the high ground. They're trying to enclose. Timber Chain interrupted by the Shuriken. Exorcism goes out. An awkward fight here now. Oh, the big ol' Say's Eclipse takes out Leshrac almost immediately. Gets another with the Bounty Hunter, but then goes down. It's 2 for 3 right now in favor of the Radiant. Exorcism still doing a lot of work. Soul Assumption stun going out. Grave Chill throwing down, not quite able to get enough. Ult coming out. They are able to get with the familiars, bring down the Death Prophet. There's the respawn, trying to bring down Alchemist, getting low crits. Where are the crits? Goes for the body block, misses it there on the stairs, gets enough mana for the ult, but so he's regenning very quickly. Again, needs crits, 2 more with no crit, and that should be it. Split Earth zones them out. Gonna try and turn. Can they catch up here to the Ancient Apparition? There's the crit. And that's enough damage. There's another one. Are able to pick up the Ancient Apparition. So all in all, I believe that was a 3-for-3 trade. Timbersaw behind the action, trying to get a pick off. Gets Lestrak very low, but not going to go down. Now a bit of a push coming out here on the tier 1 mid. TP's coming in. Acid Spray as well. 35 seconds until the Exorcism comes out. There is no reincarnation right now. Do have Overgrowth available and ready. Satan's Eclipse, another 70 seconds. So Exorcism's going to be up here in about 15 or 20 seconds. There is the opportunity, if it was delayed enough, to cast them out with Exorcism while the other ults are not back up. Gonna be caught out here in mid as the split goes out. They all go on to Wraith King. Will it be enough? Stun goes out. And there's the Edict. Stays just within range enough to bring it down. Exorcism goes out. Able to bring down the Death Prophet. Gets very low. And the Ancient Apparition picks up the Outworld Devourer. The buyback coming out of the Wraith King. Gonna try and turn that around. Got one. Backing up so far. 2 for 1 with a buyback. Stun goes out on the Lestrak, goes down, gets low. Don't want to die back. Reincarnation still not back up. And there's 2 more kills there, so 1 for 3 altogether. Looking good. 11-9 on the board right now.